Now for the Forge Podcast. Question for you. What's the power of your testimony if it's never shared? This is the Forge Podcast.
A ministry of Scottsdale Bible Church.
Get comfy.
Yeah, how's my hair? My college.
I mean, I can't. It's hard to look above your awesome flannel, man. That thing sings.
Thanks.
Scott, welcome to the Forge Podcast.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing well.
You like our setup?
This is awesome. I mean, it's interesting to walk behind the curtain, you know?
Look, when Robert showed us this little studio as a potential area, it's always fun to walk behind stage.
Yeah.
And like, oh, wait, because all I do is sit up front and watch Jamie or Rustin, and then to get a peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Reminded me of church as a kid, doing all the plays and, having access to backstage and the water baptismal and all that stuff. So kind of fun. This is a much bigger church than what I grew up in,
same here. Same here. A lot bigger.
Yeah. So this is this podcast is about guys' testimonies from the Forge, and everything related to Forge. So first question, I was driving over here. I'm like, man, I don't even know. How long have you been at the Forge? So
not long. My wife and I started attending SBC probably 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
So initially we had been really deep at our last church. She was on staff for 14 or 15 years. This was a new, getting plugged into a new place for us was a bit of a season of respite for her, having been on staff. Now she's not on staff. So we drove together. We drove to church together for the first time in 14 and a half years on that first Sunday. And I was like, this is pretty cool. I get to hang out with my wife in the car on the way to church. So I started attending the Forge probably about 1.5 years ago.
Okay.
And I got to tell you, the first time I came with a buddy, walked in, sat down. Everybody stood up after the short message and kind of went their respective ways. And he and I looked around and went, where do we go? What do we do? And,
Okay, sorry about that, folks. We had a little technical difficulty. Let's see, where were we? Back
So a buddy and I came to the Forge.
Oh, right.
We sat down, we did the worship, we listened to the message. Everybody got up and kind of went their respective ways. Yeah. And we didn't need the one-on-one. The groups looked pretty
together,
tight.
Okay.
So we hadn't seen each other for a while, so we actually just sat there and got caught up, and it was great. Left the following week. My wife was like, "Are you going to go back?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. I don't need to go." And I had led a men's Bible study at our old church for like 6.5 years, every Thursday morning at 6:30. So I had a group of guys that I was still pretty tight with and in touch with, but part of me was wanting to get him more embedded here, plugged in here, because we were here.
Right.
Kept asking the guys in my small group. We have a small group at home. Hey, let's go on Tuesday night. And literally, most of them just went, "Nah, I don't want to go." So.
And do they attend SBC?
They do.
Okay.
They do. So. Always been involved in men's ministry and understand the importance of that group of guys around you. So I was starting to miss it. Had been out of it for a while, starting to miss it. So one Tuesday night, I just said to my wife, I'm like, I don't care if anybody goes with me or not. I'm just going to go. And total God moment. Walked up front, and Steve Heller's standing out front. And Steve and I used to go to church at North. And saw Steve, made the connection. He's like, "Oh man, you got to sit at my table." Yeah. I'm like, "Okay." So part of me is a bit of a skeptic. So I sit down at this table. I'm like, "Okay, Church of the Northern Hemisphere, right? This giant church. How deep are these guys really going to be? How vulnerable are they really going to be?" And holy smokes, those guys bared their souls at that table, and I was like, "I'm in." I'm in 100%. If this is what this is all about, and these guys are going to be this vulnerable and this open and this transparent, I'm in. Because I didn't want to be in something that was an inch deep and a mile wide.
Right.
So yeah, it hit all the big boxes. It checked all the big boxes, and I was like, yeah, let's go.
So I have a question going back to what you said about your other buddies that you're in the Bible study with that also attend SBC. I asked this to Jason. I've asked it to a couple other guys. But I'm curious about the perception of what Forge is, what it means to people that aren't a part of it.
Yeah, and
I've heard certain things. I just want to hear what's their perception.
I think there's a couple of guys that one guy travels a lot for work, and he's like, if I'm home with my family.
Right.
So I'm not sure he has any preconceived notion. One of the other guys, super introverted, very shy, still working on him to get him to come. But I think he's a pretty common dude. He doesn't necessarily want to come and be vulnerable and share that. But I think it's a fear of the unknown more than anything. And then once guys get there, they understand it's just a bunch of guys like all of us are just a bunch of dudes in a room, and vulnerability breeds vulnerability. And so he's a little apprehensive from just that introverted standpoint. So
I don't blame him. I think the hardest part for me, when you said it, I'm like, I felt that too. How do you crack the way I word it is, how do I crack the surface of a table and get in there? And I know it's going to be so much time and work I have to come for so many weeks to earn trust and to show trust. And I'm like, can I do this?
Yeah.
Like, while being uncomfortable for the next 7 weeks.
Yeah.
I had a hard time with that.
Yeah.
Some guys are more extroverted and they can just kind of fit in. And I see guys at our table all the time that they'll come and they're like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm like,
and I think too, though, if you've got guys that have done it, guys that have been in, and especially in men's ministry, you've experienced it. I'm sure you're sitting at a table with 10 guys. One guy chooses to be vulnerable and transparent.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that gives all those other guys the liberty to do that and makes them feel like, okay, this is safe.
Yeah.
And then 9 times out of 10, if this guy sitting here says, man, I'm really struggling with X, 2 other guys are going to go, I feel you, man. I get it. I'm right there with you. That then just builds on itself. So it just takes one guy to.
Yeah. So
to
go back to that first night, not with you and your buddy, but sitting at Steve's table.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go back to that night.
Yeah.
Walk us
So
through that.
it was really interesting as I'm sitting there again, being a bit of a skeptic. We go through worship, we listen to the message, and we start discussing it around the table. And I'm hearing these guys talk about, my marriage is struggling. I'm having a rough time at work. Name it. And they're talking about it. And I'm listening to other guys encourage them. And I'm listening to Steve pull more information out of them. And I'm just like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I want. This is what I had at my old church.
Right.
And these are guys, my old church, that's 14 years of relationships in that group. Here, my first night, I'm going, wow, these guys are as transparent or more so than that group. It just really solidified in my mind that whatever is happening here is good stuff. It's
real.
It's
real
the right
stuff.
Yeah, it's the right stuff. It's the real stuff. It's not fabricated. It's genuine.
Yeah.
And so that's attractive. Anybody who sees that's attractive. So yeah, I was all in at that point. Like, yeah, sign me up. I'll be here whenever I can.
So since then, what's life been like? What can you attribute to the Forge?
I think that I wouldn't say there's anything revolutionary out of it, but I think what it's done is it's helped me to take SBC and break it into a smaller, more digestible bite. And
that's a great way to put that.
And I think that's critical.
Yes.
In a place like this.
So intimidating.
Because Sunday mornings you're sitting with 2,000 of your closest friends, and then Tuesday night I'm sitting with 8 of them. It's different, right? It's different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's taken that, broken it down, that coupled with our small group in our house that meets every Monday night, that group now is, more digestible. We had too many people at the table. Steve's table was getting way too big.
Yeah.
And I said,
You guys just kept franchising.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I said, listen, I've done this before. I'm happy to jump in and lead a table. So I scooted over to another table, grabbed a couple of guys that had been with him for a while, and we're just off and running on a new table.
Yeah.
So that too, to me, is kind of what it's all about. You get a couple guys in there, they learn it, they understand it, they figure it out, boom, start a new table. It just keeps multiplying.
What's your approach to leading a table? What's your approach to coming in Tuesday? Are you? I have questions, but if you know that answer, go ahead. But are you preparing? Do you know what we're talking about beforehand? And then
I've asked that question. I tossed that out a couple of weeks ago. Like, hey, what about getting the discussion questions beforehand?
Right.
I would love that.
Yeah, me too.
Not 100% necessary. I think the key to that whole thing is I think you got to do two things. You've got to pull guys in that are not engaged, and you got to sort of rein in the guys that are too engaged, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And because I want to hear this guy's voice, but I can't if this guy's too talkative.
Right.
So there's finding that balance, and it's not hard once you do it a couple times and say, hey, hold that thought. I'd love to hear from you. What's going through your what's going through your mind right now. I think the other thing too is, man, I'm just praying like crazy when we sit down and just asking the Holy Spirit to, hey, I'm just here. I'm holding this with an open hand.
Yeah.
You're in charge. Just tell me what you want to do. Mm-hmm. And it hasn't failed. There's always going to be something that maybe one guy needs a little bit more that night. Mm-hmm. And so that's been pretty cool around the table to have a couple of guys go, boy, this is kind of blowing up on me, and having guys feed into him, and then seeing those guys reach out to him afterwards during the week. And so, yeah, it starts around that table, but it certainly doesn't end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a couple nights where guys needed there was one or two that had needed, 20, 30 minutes.
Sure.
And at the time, you're trying to do what you're saying. It's like, man, everybody else wants to talk, but one of the guys ended up passing away. It was Howard.
Oh, wow.
But he was wrestling with some stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, you just have to, it's like, I know other people want to talk, but it's more important for him to really, he was pouring his life out.
Yeah.
And,
giving him that chance to process.
And I've always said that since then. I'm like, you know what? Some nights, we're not going to make it every night, but some nights guys need this more than you need to talk, or I need to talk, or you do. And I think everybody's respectful of that.
Yeah.
And that everybody can kind of sense that and see that. And it's like, okay, let him go. He needs this more than than Chris's sermon.
Right. Yeah. So, you never know who's going to need that.
Right.
I think that's the cool part about it too. You finally get a guy who feels comfortable doing that. Mm-hmm. He may not have said 2 words the previous few weeks, and all of a sudden, boom, he's hit a point where he understands these guys are safe. These guys are here. They're for me.
Yep.
They're not against me, and I can share my heart. And man, that's all we can ask for.
Yep.
That's all we can ask for, because that's that crack in that facade that now that guy is open to whatever God's got for him. And that's the whole point.
And it's reflective of the 8 or 9 or 12 guys that are sitting there, that he trusts you enough,
right?
That he values you, values your presence and your confidence, that he can bring something so real to the table.
Yeah.
Is there, without naming any names, is there a kind of a cool story of a guy from your table in the last bit that you're like, wow, we really came alongside this guy and helped them walk out of something? Or
there's a couple, and I'm not sure we're through with them yet. But yeah, there's a couple where, we've had some guys, we've had a couple guys that have dealt with some stuff in their marriages that it's just rough stuff. And, we've had a couple guys show up in a bad spot, angry, upset, get up, walk out, and yet be able to have a conversation a couple days later, like, hey, listen, man, I get it.
Yeah.
That stuff's rough, and we're here. We're not going anywhere. We love you. God loves you. Don't forget that. That's a fact. It's not fiction. It's not predicated on anything other than he says he loves you, and he does. And so, yeah, we've seen a couple of those.
Yeah.
And they're still bubbling below the surface, but God's in the middle of it, man.
Yeah.
And again, you hold it with an open hand. How do I handle this? How do I deal with this when it's going on right in front of me? Lord, you know what's happening. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
I wonder how many guys, because I do that. I know Steve does that.
Yeah.
You're saying you do that, are just sitting there like, God, I don't know what to say.
I'm
like
lost.
under our breath, like,
Yeah.
if we could just see behind the curtain of all the prayers going
Hear
on,
all
it's
those
like,
little voices
it's like,
in the room.
God, how do I respond?
Yeah.
What do I say?
Exactly.
What do I say? Come on,
Yeah.
Holy Spirit, please, please,
Yeah.
please, 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 please.
Uh-huh.
And then it presents itself.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's neat to be a part of.
Yeah.
And also humbling to realize, you know what, man, if we can just come with that posture, that's what he wants.
Yep.
Like, I've wrestled with it before, and I love the lessons God taught me where I'm trying to interject myself more and trying to be more the solution. It's like, stop, that's not why you're here.
Yeah.
Stop that.
Oh, I've had to many a times start to say something, go, hear that little voice in my head, shh, be quiet. Just sit here, listen. Just be quiet.
It's just your wife. You got comms on. It's like, Scott, just stop. Don't.
Still, really? I mean, come on, honey.
Yeah. We talked about this at home, and I told you it was a bad idea.
Quit talking.
So I want to transition to freedom.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for listening to the Forge Podcast.